in the mindset of a person who has, at that time, a pretty strong history with Disney, is a designer, has grown up with Disneyland, because I grew up in Southern California, has seen many Disneylands go up, and your boss comes in and says, would you like to lead the design of Shanghai Disneyland? It's a big deal because we don't build these very often, right? So, and the opportunity to just to do one from the ground up with new ideas in it is amazing. But then if you say, and you're going to do it in Shanghai, an amazing city, international city, you know, powerhouse economically, all those, it was a huge, just, you know, golden ticket really to be able to have that. But the first thing we did, like we've done all of our projects, is to say, you know, we don't have very much knowledge about Shanghai. And so we reached out, by that time we knew this is the only way to do it, so we reached out to both consultants and supporting players who could tell us more about the construction industry, about the creative talents. That's how I met Janet, actually, because she was an advisor to us. We needed people who could write in native Mandarin, not taking the English script and trying to adapt it or translated it. We needed more native storytelling. We needed artists who understood, artists who could understand Disney, but also could adapt it to the sensibilities of the culture in Shanghai. So that was a exciting process, and I'd say in the early days, it was difficult because I think you kind of say, oh, well, everybody's going to want to work for Disney. And you find out, actually, people got jobs, they're not that interested, you can't just automatically assume it. And particularly in the live entertainment area, great students that were coming out of music universities or acting or other dance performance were a little suspect. Do I really want to go work in a theme park? But once you start to, I would say sculptors, other artists are the same way, but once the dam starts to break, and you get a few from this school and a few from this school, or a few from this studio or this company, word got around, and you suddenly have a flood of amazing talent that said, oh, this is okay. This is going to be a good thing. We can be a part of it. And then you have the real magic that happens, which is that you have someone from Disney there, who maybe has worked many years at Disney, who has a vision of something. You have a new person there who maybe doesn't have the Disney background, but they're an amazing sculptor, an amazing artist, colorist, architect. And that's where that magic really becomes something else. It isn't all Disney. And it was at the groundbreaking, and we're all out there on this big piece of land, and it's muddy and raining, and we're ready to start. It's a daunting process. And Bob Iger came in for the groundbreaking, and as part of his speech for the groundbreaking, he coined this phrase, authentically Disney and distinctly Chinese. And he actually came up with the phrase there. It wasn't written ahead of time, but it became a guide point for us that we said, whether it's food or color or how the cast is trained or the language is used, all those things together, we want you to know you could not be anywhere else except Disney. It's absolutely authentic, but you also could not be anywhere else except here in Shanghai. It's absolutely distinct. It's not a copy of another park from someplace else. It's distinctively Chinese, and that was challenging. We had to respect diverse points of view on the creative team, but in the end, I think we're all very proud to have launched the project that way.
Yeah, I think the success of that is kind of really evident when you get there. I visited the park in research for my book, and while I was there, I kind of got this question spinning in my head because a little Chinese kid came up to me and he put it and said, "White Warren, foreigner," normal proclamation.
Right.
But it got me thinking. To this kid, is Mickey Mouse an American? Is Mickey Mouse a foreigner? Is Mickey Mouse Chinese? And so I sent a message to my friend who's a school teacher in central China, just asking her, ask all your students, is Mickey Mouse American or is Mickey Mouse Chinese? She sent me videos of all their responses. And these are kids who are maybe 5 through 10 years old. And it really kind of left them kind of scratching their heads. Very few of them were like, that's an American. Some of them said, he's like American, but now he's kind of Chinese, or he's both Chinese and he's American, he's for the world,
Right.
all this kind of stuff. But it really, there's been a certain blending of elements in their mind where this doesn't kind of fall along
Right.
national boundaries in the same way.
Well, I love this photo because this was just before the opening, and all those people there are what we call the cast members, because we consider it a show every day. But all those people came together to do this project, and by far the overwhelming number there are all from the region around Shanghai. So these are new Disney cast members who are there every day meeting guests who are, you know, absolutely Chinese. But to your point, we did a number of focus groups, and I found this was one of the most resonant points I found, which was we were in one of them and we were showing some things that I would say were kind of Americana-ish. There's a certain amount of Disney kind of Americana feeling stuff. And one of the people in the focus group, a father of a child that was there, said, Disney does not belong to America. Disney belongs to the world. And I always remembered that, and I believe that we belong to the world, and so we don't need to come into a new place with a giant American flag on our backs. We have to come as Disney, as storytellers, as artists, as people who want to engage people to have a place to go that's safe with their families. All the original things that Walt wanted seem to be things that anybody wants, right? We want to take our kids and we want to go out and have a fun, exciting experience, or we want to be with our friends and feel like we're immersed in a kind of our own story. I think that translates across many cultures, that basic need translates.
Talking about the